Welcome to Raw Conscious Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Tammy Cheney. Here, I dive deep into extraordinary journeys, out-of-body experiences, near-death awakenings, encounters with the paranormal, the unseen, unexplained, and deeply spiritual. You will hear from real people sharing raw, unfiltered stories. Settle in, get ready for a conversation that might shift your consciousness. Today's guest is a lifelong experiencer, but in the last year has had a powerful, life-altering spiritual experience forever. Let's welcome our guest, Jess. Jess, welcome. Thank you for coming on tonight. And
thank you for having me.
I'm so excited about this conversation that we're about to have. And I'm very excited for the guests to hear this information that you're about to reveal. So why don't you go ahead and start wherever you want to start, and we'll just go from there.
Okay, perfect. So like you said, I've always been an experiencer pretty much my entire life. I didn't really have a label for it at that point in time until August of last year. I had some really strange things start to happen to me that kind of came from nowhere. It was pretty much, I feel like after that, the solar eclipse we had in April, if I really want to think back to like when I feel like things started to change, and I feel like that comes into my story a lot because I feel like all of this is very astrological and celestial. And so in August, I started having what I would call downloads, and I would like to say also that I've always been a dreamer. I've always had very like apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic, and prophetic dreams. Like I never dreamt like regular people, and I don't know, never really thought too much about that. But in August, I had a dream where I was in this like desert type area, and to the left is like this open space with like a valley, and to the right there's kind of like a little town. There's like a vendor selling food and stuff. And I realized that nobody was speaking English, and so I didn't know where I was. So I'm asking people like, where am I? Where am I? And so I just remember everybody pointing and cheering and like looking to the left, and there was a planetary alignment. And I keep asking people where I'm at. And so finally this woman pops up and she's like, oh, you're in Jordan. And I'm like, Jordan? She's like, yeah, you're in Jordan. So I wake up. And so the word Jordan is just pressing, is just pushing and pushing. And so the way that my brain operates is I need to investigate if there was something going on with the planetary alignment in Jordan. I Google it. Nothing really pops up. So, don't really think too much about it. This would be a good time to also say that Jordan, I found recently, falls on the 33-degree ley line. I feel like that's important to note now, but I'll get more into that later. So after that dream, I just kind of brushed it aside. And from that moment forward, things just got really strange. My horoscope was telling me that there was supposed to be like a really important book that I was supposed to be reading, but like, how was I? So I have like a million books. So one day I was just staring at my books and I just knew. I was like, that's the book that's suggesting that I read. And it was the Manly P. Hall Secret Teachings of All Ages book. It's the number one book I recommend to anybody who's interested in, if you're watching this podcast, you probably would benefit from owning that book in your life. Especially if you're interested in like the esoteric and symbols and the hidden meaning of like religious text and artwork. So it's a great book. And so you could say that the moment that I went and picked that book up, that everything just started to unfold. And I was reading this book that I had for 15 years with like a brand new set of eyes. Like I was understanding things that I had not understood before. And so from that point on, I was just having a lot of dreams, very, very symbolic dreams. I didn't realize at the time the significance of them. And I'm mad at myself because I didn't keep a dream journal. And my mom told me a million times, you should write your dreams down, get you a journal, get you a book. And so I never did that. So Um, but so the downloads that I was having, it was really hard for me to accept this because it was far different from like the voice in your head that's like, oh, I need to like pay that bill. It was completely different. And a lot of my journey actually has been me accepting what's been happening to me. It's been really difficult uh, to accept it. So, but again, I know myself very well. I have spent a lot of time in my life, in my adult life, healing from the traumas of my childhood, and I put
Mm-hmm.
in a great amount of effort to do so. And I know that you also have done that as
Yes.
well. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I feel like most experiencers, like not all, but most of us, I would say, had some kind of trauma or some kind of like issues with our lineage, and we had to really put forth the effort, and it kind of opens you up. And that's why I think the whole like people that dismiss the darkness about themselves aren't experiencers, and it's because you have to have a dualistic experience. You have to know both
Yes.
sides of yourself. And so I think that's a
Mm-hmm.
big part of my story as well. So
Yes.
we'll just skip forward to, I guess, let's just say December. But just the whole time I'm having lots of downloads, lots of dreams, and lots of really strange synchronistic stuff happening. And I'm like waking up every day and I'm like, there's like a puzzle piece is happening and it's like my mind is being blown and like I'm not understanding what's happening. So in December, that's when all the drone stuff started happening. And oh, hang on. And so I just got this really strange feeling at this point in time to go outside. And it was really cold. I think maybe it was even snowing. And I just got this really strange feeling. And I was like, I need to go outside, go outside. And that's when I first saw these orbs. And they were facing west from my yard. There's like a mountain
Mm-hmm.
with a plane tower. And we kind of see them. And so they're zooming left, they're zooming right. They're maybe lasting for a good like 8 to 15 seconds. And then they're just like completely disappearing. And so I wanted to understand more about what it was that I could have potentially be seeing. So I'm on CIA.gov. I'm reading like archives. I'm reading all kinds of stuff online. I'm like, okay, they're plasmoids. They're coming from the sun. Also, something that I didn't mention on my last podcast was um, back in October, the sun had completed its 33 is like it's like a 33-year cycle. It's like the sun's like completion or something. And then
Mm-hmm.
that's also when we started having like these weird solar flares. And then there was like this announcement that our not our atmosphere, but our the magnetic sphere, it like turned into two bubbles. So instead of it kind of being like a more
Wow.
spherical, okay, I was looking at the images of it, and it was like kind of like kind of how two bubbles look when they're like touching together. And I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is incredible because does that not kind of look like a portal in for these plasmoids that we know are coming from the sun? The sun is just blasting. These things now can come straight through into these little areas where it's kind of like, doubled
Right.
now. And
Right.
so
Right.
then all of a sudden now we're having all of these sightings of these things. I think that that's what's it. I think that they're coming from the sun. I think the sun is a portal, and I think that that's what these things are. So anyways, I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
they're plasmoids, they're Vrillic force, toroidal shape, come from the sun. Okay, sweet. That's the scientific thing for it. So what else
Mm-hmm.
could it be? And what's really interesting is I'm about to tell my February the 4th story. A
Mm-hmm.
couple of weeks ago, I go back and I look into my photo album. 2 days, because I wanted to see when it was that I was reading about Ezekiel. I wanted to see for sure. I scroll up and it was February the 2nd. February the 2nd is when my downloads were leading me to look into Ezekiel's wheel. And I'm like, wow, it kind of looks like what I've been seeing now for a good, because that was December. So all of December, I filmed these things, saw hundreds of them.
Right.
January, same thing. And so then I see that there is going to be a planetary alignment. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's weird because I had that dream back in August. And I was like, well, I was in Jordan there, but like, this is cool. Didn't didn't think much about it. So 2 days before February the 4th, I look at my phone and Ezekiel's wheel was there. Little did I know the significance of what that was going to turn into.
Hmm.
So on February the 4th, I was working up on this really beautiful property on top of the mountain. I was by myself. The downloads were really intense that day, and I was already starting to feel kind of like exhausted and stressed out because it was like I learned more in this like 6 month period than I
Hmm.
had in like all of my years of schooling. I mean, it was like I was decoding stuff. I could read symbols. I was now looking into like biblical stuff, which I was never into like one specific religion, like world religions. Okay, sure, but mostly esoteric symbolism. Now I'm reading into stuff. It's like my mind is being blown because I'm not understanding what's happening to me. But up on the mountain, I was like, my life is stressed out. Um, like I appreciate the knowledge, I appreciate the downloads, but like I'm gonna need something more than this because it's just putting so much strain on the relationships in my life and on
Hmm.
me as a person. I mean, it's all I wanted to talk about. It's all I wanted. It's all I could think about. And because I am autistic, I when I am interested in something, I go very deep. I go very deep on it, and so that's definitely what I was doing. And I felt like I was just like putting together a puzzle piece, and it was like I was like almost there. So I was like, I need something more than this. Um, so I leave there and I have to go pick up my kids and I meet my mom at the Goodwill and
Hmm.
I walk in and Jessica from the Almond Brothers is playing, which is the song I was named after. So I thought that was pretty cool. The first thing I see at the Goodwill is this Merlin figurine. And I was like, hell yeah, I love stuff like that. Like Merlin is super cool. So I got that, brought him home. He comes into the story a little bit later, but so I get my kids, come home, and the whole time I just had this burning feeling inside to get outside. So at this point, the planetary alignment has now
Hmm.
begun. It began in January and it was going to be going until February the 28th. That's when it was supposed to be complete. So I was just ready to get outside and to look at the sky and try to see if I could film these plasmoids. And I get out there and I'm sitting, I got my cigarette, I've got my drink, and I had finished Carl Jung's Red Book on audio tape that day, and he was talking a lot about breath work. And I was like, you know what? Like, I need to
Hmm.
figure out something I can do to like calm myself down and just to like relax. So I started to do some breath
Right.
work, and it wasn't for very long. And then I hear owls, and it's like six owls. They're all in the backyard, and so owl energy is really strong with me. I've had a lot of very strange encounters with owls in the past couple of years. But I open my eyes and I pull my phone out because I'm gonna like film the owls. And when I open my eyes and I pull my phone out, I look directly in front of me and I'm facing exactly west. Saturn
Hmm.
had already like gone down or it was about to go down, but Venus was very bright in the sky. It was like the biggest I'd ever seen a planet look in my life. And then all of a sudden something just kind of like pops to the side and I was like, oh, okay. Now mind you, these things we had been filming for months now, we had only ever seen them go left and right, and only
Hmm.
for a few seconds. So this thing pops out and I'm filming it and it's just it's not going away. I'm like, okay, this is lasting a lot longer than 15 seconds. And then I realize I'm like, okay, it's getting bigger. Then I realize it's not just getting bigger, it's coming directly to me. And because of the way that it moves, like I couldn't even tell that it was coming closer to me. I just thought it was like getting bigger. Well, then by the time I realized that it's like 120 feet in front of me and it's like 120 feet up off the top of my neighbor's roof, and it
Hmm.
has the biggest aura around it, like, and I have video footage of it, and like I'm excited that I have the footage, but like it just doesn't do it justice, like at all. And so the aura was, I would say, like 4 feet around the whole thing, and it was like the most beautiful powdery blue. It's like a blue I've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And in the center is this like golden white light. And it starts to get this, like, at first it's kind of like an orb. And then the center starts getting like this really like soft diamond shape in the center. And it starts to change into something else. By this point in time, I realized I've been filming it for like four 4 minutes, and I was like, okay, and I'm getting scared now because now it's here, and I didn't even realize that it had come that close to me. So I start to get up because I'm scared. I've never seen anything like this in my life. And hang on, let me click this off. Okay. So so I get up to basically run, and all of a sudden my throat gets this feeling in it that I've never felt before in my life. It was like immediately palpitating, and I was like, I remember like putting my fingers in my throat, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what is this? And then all of a sudden there is like a telepathic message, and it said, I see you, you see me, I'm coming to you. And I was like, what, hold on. First of all, I'm just absolutely like
Right.
I'm freaking out because like I don't know what's in front of me. And then this, secondly, I'm being telepathically communicated with. So then I book it like a little bitch. I get up and I run up the side of the yard, and I'm like, don't want to like turn my back to it, but my legs are jello. I mean, I am like barely like how it was like in a dream when you're trying to run and like you can't. That was happening in real life.
Right.
Like I couldn't go. So I'm like, surely it's gonna be gone. Like it can't follow me. And then I turn around and I see that it's actually coming up the side of the yard. Like it's following me up. And I was like, oh my God. I go inside, I fall on the steps, I open the door. I'm screaming for my kids to come outside. My two boys come outside, and I'm so thankful that somebody else saw it in the same way that I did, because the video footage is cool and I'm really glad that I have it, but like having somebody else see what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
When my boys come out, it's now like 2 or 3 feet above the top of the street light. So it's very low. And it's
Wow.
now it's yeah, and so in the video footage, like that damn street light, I have been talking about shooting it out with my bow for like months now
Mm-hmm.
because it's so bright. And I feel like if that light wasn't there, I may have had like some like the best UAP footage, because it was
Right.
doing things that I can't even explain. It's not
What
an
was
orb
the
anymore.
okay, so compared to the size of the light pole outside, because they're typically about the same size, was it bigger than the light bulb
Oh,
area?
oh, oh yeah, oh yeah, and
Wow.
that's not what's translate. Like that's it's not true, but when you zoom in on this thing, you can definitely see the aura. The aura was at least 10 times brighter in person than what translated on the phone. And I was
Right.
filming with an iPhone 7, because like I'm not materialistic. I have phones until they fall apart. I didn't really care about like I've never cared about having like a new phone. So I was just filming this with an iPhone 7. And I'm
Right.
also I'm trying to look at it with my eyes, but I'm also trying to film it, and so people get all bent out of shape about you're moving too much. I'm like, okay, well, if you were seeing something like this, I'm sorry, like I don't even think that you would be conscious anymore. You might even pass out. So,
Right.
but it was I mean, so the aura alone was 4 feet. The aura alone was 4 feet. The center of it, I would
Wow.
say, looked like I don't know, like two basketballs.
Okay.
The
Okay.
center of it. So
Right.
then it turns into, it looks like kind of like a gem, like a multifaceted gem. It was like shifting in the sunlight, but it was like rainbow. I mean, it was literally a
Wow.
rainbow faceted center of this thing, and it's just spinning. I mean, it's just flashing. And so while the center is flashing, it's like emitting like a flashing light around it. And then you've got this huge blue aura. And my son is absolutely losing his mind. He's like, "What the hell is that?" He's only 13, so he was like, I let him get away with cussing in that moment because what the hell is that? So
Right.
after it so after it does that, it goes back into an orb. It's probably the size of a basketball. It never lost that aura. It still had this like crazy blue spinning aura around it. And then it's pulsing. It's pulsing. It's hovering. Now it's just like kind of like directly in front of me, and it's like moving very slow. And at this point in
Hmm.
time, it's probably 3 feet above my neighbor's roof. So still very low, very, very low. And then it turned into this really strange, like foggy. It looked very foggy.
Hmm.
And it, as I described it, looked like it had a crescent moon front shape and like a pyramidal back shape. And I was like, you hear me in the video, I'm like, what? The terror. I mean, like my voice is
Right.
quivering in the video because I'm like, what is that? And then it plumes out a smoke ring and enters it and it disappears. And so this was like a
Wow.
6 minute long. Well, I stopped filming for a good 35 to 45 seconds. So it was like a 6.5 minute long um, interaction. And I
Right.
actually went back and it took me a long time to like go back to those videos and watch them for a long time. And I went back the other day and there was another video that I like totally like just missed. And it's like after that happens, I'm still standing out there and like I point the camera. Now I'm squall crying. And I'm like, here comes another one. And like another one was coming, but like I was still so like mind blown by like what was going on that like I was just like, who cares? Here comes just a regular old orb. But it was still really close and it was just coming. So who knows what
Right.
that was. But so yeah, after that experience, I had a little breakdown because after all the stuff that had been happening to me since August, that felt like okay.
Hmm.
And so in that moment, um, when it was coming to me and after the telepathic communication started happening and I started watching it change, I was like in my brain and in my soul, I said, that's Ezekiel's wheel and you know it. And
Wow.
so that was a very strange thing for me because, Ezekiel's story, he talks about he's approached by this wheel within a wheel and it was spinning like the color of beryl. So I look up the beryl family and it's rainbow colors. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, oh, all
Wow.
right. He said it was sparking, that it had sparkles around it. If you look at my
Hmm.
video footage, you just see sparkles all around this thing. It's just like sparking all around it. And it was a little hard to dismiss at that point. And so also something that I've been really interested in is translating things to their original like ancient Hebrew origin so I could better understand words and phrases.
Hmm.
And also I've been using the gematria calculator, which is where you input words to find the numerical value of like a
Wow.
word
Okay.
because I'm that kind of nerd. So so I was guided to I was curious about Ezekiel's story because after that experience I was like I think that's what that was and I'm like looking really hard into it. And I was curious because it said Tammuz 5 was the date for Ezekiel's wheel. So I was like, I wonder what Tammuz 5 is in like our modern calendar. And so I put it in, and when I pressed enter and my birthday popped up, I,
Wow. That is
yeah, that
powerful.
was, it
Wow.
was. And so I would like to also say that after talking to my mom about it, because I mean I was in the car crying. I was like, "What in the hell is going on with me? Like, what is happening to me?" I call my mom. I tell her about it, and she's like, "Well, wasn't it on your birthday in 2011 when you saw that orb?" And I didn't even think about it in
Hmm.
2011. And I actually have since reached after I did my podcast. I sent it to my friend, and he reminded me that we didn't just see one orb together. We had two orb encounters, and I had forgotten about the second one, but I'll talk about that. But on my
Hmm.
birthday in 2011, my grandfather passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And I was upset. Nobody wanted to tell me because he passed away on my birthday. I guess nobody wanted to be the bearer of bad news. So I ended up finding out on Facebook, and I got upset, and I was like, I need to get out of here. So I called my friend. I'm like, let's go on a camping trip. We go somewhere where there was supposed to be Bigfoot sightings because we're weird people like that. And so we go camping. We're in the
I'm
tent.
weird like
We're about
that
to
too,
call it a
by the
night.
way.
Yeah, no. It's like, hey,
Right.
that's just what you do. So we were calling it a night. We're in the tent, and we all of a sudden we see this light to the right, and I was like, my immediate thought as a girl is like, oh my God, like we're so far out here in the woods, like who is that with a flashlight? Like I'm getting scared. And he's like, I don't think that's a flashlight. And it starts to come closer, and it's the same color. It's like this blue and like a white orb, and it just floats like I don't know, like 3 feet in front of the tent window. I mean, I was just like literally, I had my eyes like out, looking out the screen, and it just it floats on by, and then it just like it pierces the veil, like the
Wow.
fabric of reality. It just pierces it, and then just completely disappears. We were losing our minds. We were losing our
Wow.
minds. And so since I talked to him like maybe like a week and a half ago, he's like, I thought you were going to tell the story about the field, and I was like, oh my God, I completely forgot about that story. Maybe like a month later, we were in my backyard at the time. We went outside, and we're looking at the stars. And I was like, I wonder if we'll ever see one of those orbs again. And it was not like 2 minutes later, like we look up and here comes one like above the trees, and it's like coming right to us. And we're scared. It's 2011. I'm much younger than we book it. We run inside the house. So
Right.
I have had orb experiences before in 2011, but yeah, that was on my
Mm-hmm.
birthday that I saw that first one. So again, with the Ezekiel's wheel thing,
Right.
it felt a little strange.
Wow.
Hmm.
So now I don't know where you're feeling led to go right from this point, but I am so interested in the experience that you had where you were on a craft.
That's like it's further
Okay,
down in my
so
story.
you go ahead and go where you were going to go, but that experience blew my mind. I'll be honest with you, it blew my
Hmm.
mind.
Hmm. I'll talk about my Jacob's Ladder story now, because I feel like
Yes.
that's probably the next thing. So that the up close encounter, the very Ezekiel wheel experience was February the 4th. So like I said, the planetary alignment was supposed to be complete on February the 28th, and I was
Hmm.
going hard. I was going hard on this planetary alignment,
Hmm.
and so something that my downloads had led me um, to look into, which was very shocking for me, was Jacob's Ladder. And again, I
Hmm.
just want to let everybody know I was never religious. Like, sure, I had heard of Jacob's Ladder. I had never heard of Ezekiel before this experience. I just want everybody to know that I was never. It's not like I was reading into this stuff and then having the experiences. I was having the experiences or being like guided to look into something, and then it would happen. It was so bizarre. So Jacob's Ladder was being pushed on me really, really hard. And like I think I like read something, and I like bookmarked it, and I was like, I'll read it later, and like I never did. So
Hmm.
right before this alignment happened, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. Because by the way, after that February the 4th experience, I was terrified. I wasn't going outside by myself. I wasn't getting any sleep. I could
Hmm.
not figure out like what was happening to me. Really dark time for me. Um, but it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and I get this download to open up this thing and read it. I'm like, no, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I just want to go to sleep. Leave me alone. And it just kept pushing and it kept pushing. So I opened it up, and I have like 30 things bookmarked. So how on earth I even knew what I was supposed to be clicking, I have no idea. I click it open, and it's about Jacob's Ladder. And again, I didn't really know anything about it. I'm reading it, and I'm like, oh my God. And it's talking about Jesus is taking these people through the Jordan
Hmm.
and they were all talking about the sky, how it had never looked that way. how, they were fishermen. They were always outside. They like, we've never seen this guy look like this before. He's like, follow me, I can show you more. He takes them through the Jordan, and it is a planetary alignment. And in that moment, I was like, oh shit, because that's how all of this started, was back in August, and now we're at
Right.
like almost the end of February, and it was like a planetary alignment in Jordan. And so here I am, half a year later, having this experience. And so then it tells me to go outside, and I'm like squawk crying at this point in time. I walk outside, and there's an orb like in front of, and like as soon as I open the front door, like behind my neighbor's house in front of me, just an orb, just chilling there. And I'm like, can't, I don't have the capacity. Like, so then I turn around, and I'm looking at the sky, and there's like an image on this article about the sky and like what was going on. It was very important for everybody to realize like what was happening in the sky. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a planetary alignment, the ladder. And
Hmm.
there was like a depiction of what the sky looked like. And so I'm looking up and I'm looking down at the phone, and I'm like, okay, it's everything is there. And then there's this one little thing that said shooting star. And I remember looking up, and I said, well, everything's there but the shooting star. And the moment that the words left my lips, it went right across the top of the house. And I was just,
Wow.
it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just like
Right.
standing out there, just like, okay, like, okay, fine. And so, something that I haven't really shared that I
Let
think is important
before
to
you
share.
go before you go ahead right there, I
Hmm.
just want to ask you, when you were reading about the story of Jesus and going through the Jordan. Now, I mean, like I said, I've read the whole New Testament multiple times. Were you in like the New Testament of a Christian Bible, or were you reading it in some extra text that's outside the Bible?
It was not like, because it was saved on my phone. I'll have to like send you the link of it. But
Okay.
it was the story of Jacob, and like, and somewhere in that. And so, but they have
Okay.
like the Bible, like the chapters and everything that it's coming from, like saved like at the
Right,
bottom of
right.
the page. Hmm.
So it was more of
So
something that was mentioned in the Old Testament, because that's of course where Jacob's ladder is, but it was mentioned in Jesus in the Old Testament at that point.
mhm.
That's extremely interesting to me. And yeah, later, not right now, but I'd absolutely love for you to send me that link.
Yeah,
And
I'll send it to you.
because that's something that's out of my knowledge, and I'd really like to see that. But I'm very familiar with Jacob's ladder, so go ahead,
Okay.
go where you start, go back to where you were.
Okay. Um, but so I, and it's not anything I shared personally, because I think that this is like, it was like one of the bigger struggles for me, is I was like, what is doing this? Like, what exactly, like, I was just calling like a higher power or something. I'm like, what exactly is it that's like giving me this knowledge and like guiding me in this way? I'm having like the most insane prophetic dreams,
Hmm.
super symbolic dreams. And I just kept thinking about archangels. And again, I was not
Hmm.
religious, so I was just like, okay, well, in esoteric they do talk about the angels, and that was more of my take, was like esoteric, like realm of things. And so I see this wheel, and it has like the archangels on it, and I was like, okay, well, which one is for the West? Because
Hmm.
all of my experiences have been having are coming from the West. So I look and I see Gabrielle. I say Gabrielle, but I know it's written Gabriel. That it
Right.
feels a little bit more feminine or more androgynous to me.
Hmm.
And so I was like, oh, well, that's weird. So I started looking into the archangel Gabrielle, and it said that she's
Hmm.
depicted seen holding a lily. And I was like, well, that's so strange, because that's my daughter's name. And then I realized
Wow.
that she represented the West, and I was like, okay, check on that. And then it said that she was they were the angel of prophetic messenger through dreams and symbols. And I was like, okay, well, that's what's happening to me. And then they also represented the zodiac sign Cancer, and I'm also
Okay.
a Cancer. So
Hmm.
I found that to be very interesting. And also your birth chart and your life path number. I talk about this a lot. I think they're like the two most important tools that you could have if you're interested in this kind of stuff. So I'm a master number 33, which is, there's that number seems to be really important for a lot of people. And
Mhm.
it's just found all over everything. And so, my my birth chart is very strange. I am a Cancer sun, a Virgo moon, and a Capricorn rising, and that is
Mhm.
literally Jacob's ladder. It is, if
Wow.
you look at if you look at any depiction imagery of Jacob's ladder, so like the Freemasonry stuff, so what you're going to see is you're going to see two columns on either side. That's Cancer, that's Capricorn. Cancer and Capricorn are said, you can Google it, they are the portals. They are the portals into this world, and they are the portals out of this world. So any
Wow.
artwork that you see, so if you look at Jesse's tree, you're going to see a tree with with a virgin holding a child in the center. So that's my moon sign. On the left
Mhm.
side of the tree is Cancer. On the right side is Capricorn. It's everywhere. It's literally, so
Wow.
the like the artistic rendition of Jacob's ladder is my big three in my birth chart. So I found
Mhm.
that to be
Right.
very strange when I was being pushed to learn about all this stuff. And so that's what was happening first, is I was being pushed to learn about symbols and symbols in my birth chart. So that
Right.
was very, very interesting. So after the Jacob's ladder thing, um, that's when the dream started to get even more intense, because it
Mhm.
was almost like after that alignment, which by the way, I've got footage from that alignment that I haven't showed anybody. And I was
Wow.
guided to find this very particular location, okay? It was a
Mhm.
download. It was a download. I knew I wanted to be facing west, but I wanted to be up higher than I was at my house. And so I take my family, we're driving down this back road at the top of this mountain. They're like, we need to turn around. There is nothing up here. I was like, no, we have to keep pushing. I have a feeling that there's a spot up here that we need to be at. They all
Mhm.
wanted to turn around and come home. So, nope, we find the spot that nobody knew about. It's actually a perfect pull off. It faces exactly west. It's got a big open sky at the very top of the mountain. And
Mhm.
I pointed at everybody and I was like, I told you. I told you. So, on the day of the alignment, we go up there, and I need to I need to share some video footage with you about that. So, after
Mhm.
that, I personally feel like all of this is very celestial, and that all the writings of the Bible are very symbolic, and only those who can understand the hidden meaning of it are really understanding like what's really being said. And I know that's where you shine. So
Yes.
the planetary alignment literally represented Jacob's ladder. And by the way, Jacob's ladder has 33 rungs. It's your spinal column. And
Wow.
so so that's more of like where my territory goes, is but that would have to be a whole other podcast. But I've got the knowledge, I've got the information to kind of bring the works of the Bible into a very symbolic um,
Right.
message or story, or like it's like a hidden little thing there. So, anyways,
Mhm.
I truly believe that these planetary alignments, we have another planetary alignment just like we had last year, coming at the exact same time coming this year. These are
Wow, really?
portals. Yes, yes, ma'am. It's in, listen, this is a very rare, because it was 6 planets. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like that's a very
Yeah, I
large
remember
number of
that
planets.
last year. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember the six planets that lined up last year. Yep.
Now think about what you've been seeing online since that time, and how it has absolutely
Mhm.
amplified since
Yes.
February of last year.
Yes,
Okay,
I
so
100% agree. Yeah. I've watched it
we have this,
like
yeah, we
yeah, I
have
don't
the
have anything
same
else on I don't
alignment.
have anything else that's so sorry. I don't have anything else that's like kind of distracting me in any kind of a way other than being able to pay attention to this stuff. So if there's anybody that has literally watched transformation, like big transformation happening just this past year, it's definitely me. That's all I see all around me.
Yep,
So go
same.
ahead. Mm-hmm.
So I'm just letting everybody know. I personally feel like these planetary alignments are the portals. And with the intensity of things building up right now, I
Mm-hmm.
look for this January and February to be exploding with
Mm-hmm.
some kind of energy for sure. So,
Right.
anyways, after that, started having some really crazy, you know, more crazy dreams. I'm having lots of dreams about the planets. I'm having lots of dreams about the sun. I had a dream that the sun, I was like walking in a big field with a small group of people. The sun started to grow. It started to get bigger, bigger, bigger. And then it just took up the whole sky. And then all of a sudden there was just like a flash and there was
Mm-hmm.
like darkness. And so at this point in time,
Wow.
my ex-boyfriend now, because a lot of people can't date an experiencer. So you think you want to date a weird girl until you get a weird girl.
Right.
So anyways, so we have since broken up, but at this point in time, he was like having to wake me up because I mean, I've always dreamt, but I don't think that I was
Mm-hmm.
ever like an active dreamer in a way of like making sounds or like flopping around. I was always kind of like, I looked like I was sleeping peacefully, but like in my head, I'm having these crazy dreams. So, he's having to wake me up, and like I just remember like waking up, and he was always just like this. What the hell are you dreaming about? And I'm just like, I don't know. Do you really want to know? Because it was really hard for me because I wanted everybody to believe me so badly that
Mm-hmm.
I was like, look, how can you dismiss this? I had this dream. It happened 2 days later. I got this download about this very particular thing, and now like look at this, and like the proof was all there, but it
Right.
had less to do with me than I realized at the time. I just don't feel like I was I was being supported in a lot of ways, but like
Right.
if you experience this stuff on a personal level and it's your day to day,
Mm-hmm.
there is just always going to be a gap with people that even people in your life that you're showing it to, that you're experiencing
Right.
it with. It's like unless and it just it can become very isolating. So at this
Mm-hmm.
point, I'm trying to dismiss it. I'll be straight up with you. I was like, I just want a normal life back. Like, I don't know what's going on with me. Like, I grew up in the country. I was never afraid of being outside. I'm a huge outdoors person. Now I won't even like go to my car to just grab something. Like I'm absolutely terrified. I'm reading stuff online. And by the way, I try to stay completely. I wasn't reading anybody else's stories because I didn't want anybody else's experience to take my. I wanted to fully go into this on my own without any kind of like external, you know, stuff happening to me. So I didn't really get online very much and read other people's stories, but
Mm-hmm.
I, I would get online occasionally and I would see stuff, people being like, oh, it's evil, it's a demon, it's Satan, it's all this kind of stuff. And, that's not
Right.
beneficial. And that's another thing it's new for me. Like my message, I've started creating content. If you had told me a year ago that I'd be creating content and getting on camera, I would have told you absolutely not. I it still feels very weird for me to do this, but like my message is I am so sick and tired of seeing content from people who are very good talkers. They're really intelligent. They have the information. They have lots of views. They have lots of followers and stuff like that. But I'm like, but have you seen an orb? Have you encountered it? Like
Right. Right.
you're telling everybody that 100%. You're saying these words. 100. That's a bold claim, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's a bold claim to say 100% that this thing is a demon when you've never encountered one yourself. So I'm sick and tired of seeing fear mongering content. I'm absolutely over it. It is not,
Yes.
I'm tired of seeing people talk about things that they've never had the experience themselves. I
Right.
just
Right.
don't,
I
it's a
agree
red
100%. I'm
flag
with
for
you
me.
with that.
Red flag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, red flag. So it's not beneficial for people like us who are experiencing these types of things to get online and
Mm-hmm.
see somebody who's got like 200,000 followers and everybody's like, oh my God, that thing's a
Mhm.
demon. I'm like, that person's never even had the experience. So why are you
Right.
listening to them? So it's just, it's very difficult to be going through this kind of thing and to get online and see what everybody's saying about it. You know,
Mhm.
I was kind of keeping mostly private with it at this point in time. I have since, I guess, in the past 3 weeks, that's changed for me. I've become a little bit more public about it. But anyways, I
Right.
don't want to ramble too much about that. But I just wanted to tell that is I'm just so sick and tired of the fear mongering, because if
Mhm.
you are a spiritual person and you are traversing this middle path, you have accepted your darknesses, you are familiar with your light,
Yes.
you're confident, and you have discernment, and that's what it takes. Is you have
Mhm.
to step into it no matter how uncomfortable it is. Your relationships might end. I mean, hey, look, my entire life crumbled, but guess what? I felt like if I did not step into this, that I would be going against my soul's purpose. And that's how big
Yes.
this felt for me.
Yes.
Is
I
even
know
though
that feeling
my
oh so
mhm,
well. I know that feeling oh
yep,
so well, and
yep.
I'm right with you.
And
Yeah,
my
I'm
whole life it's been
feeling
like
you
that.
right now.
Yeah. And my whole life it was like that. I had all these really strange things happening to me, but I was like really busy. I've been a single parent my pretty much the entire time I've been a parent. I've been a single
Mhm.
parent. I've been trying to like hustle, trying to make money, but I'm also like never been like one to like conform and have like a 9 to 5. So I've always been like a
Right.
hustler, and I was always just really busy. So I would read and study when I could.
Mhm.
But this felt different when this started happening to me. I really like wasn't working very much or hustling very much. This became my job. My
Yes.
studying and my figuring this out, my the inner work that was taking place in me was so intense at this moment. I just felt like that, even though there was no monetary value to what I was doing, it felt like my great work. It felt like the most important job that I could be doing
Right.
at that time. And so even though I tried to push it away, which by the way, I don't think I brought this up, but I found out later that when I was talking about the archangel, and I was like, okay, I feel like this Gabrielle angel is like what is communicating with me. I
Mhm.
then found out later that that was also the angel that Jacob was seen fighting through the night. I did not know that that was the angel. And I was
Yes.
like, okay, well, that makes sense because Jacob was being shown dreams and symbols through his dreams. And like, that's what this angel represents.
Right. Right.
And so, and I've never, I shared this last night, but only briefly. And it's been a really weird thing for me to say out loud. But after I realized about this angel, and I was pretty confident that that's what I was connected to. And the Jacob's Ladder thing is probably the most significant part of my story. So I felt a very big tie to this. And I was shown some things that I'll share about later, because I need to find the words to describe this. But I found out that Jacob was left with a permanent limp in his leg from fighting with this angel. And so he wasn't
Mhm.
physically fighting the angel, he was fighting what was happening to him. He was like, how am I supposed to believe that this is true? He was struggling just like I was with like this stuff happening to him, and I'm getting these dreams. I'm like,
Right.
well, how am I supposed to know this is real? And I was just like pretty much dismissing it. I was trying so hard to dismiss because I just wanted things to kind of go back to normal. I
Right.
wake up in the let's see, sometime in March, and my leg is fucked up, and I'm not talking about a little bit. I'm talking, and I didn't fall. Nothing hit me. I didn't
Right.
do anything to warrant this kind of pain. And I just, the way that I am, I'm like, well, it'll just go away. It never went away. It never, ever, ever went away. And it's been
Mhm.
since March now. And so I, again, because I don't know anything about this, my mom had to mention it to me. She's like, well, Jacob had a problem with his leg. And I was like, what do you mean? I Google it. I was like, let me find out. Let me find out. I Googled it. It said that Jacob was left with a permanent limp in his right leg because of fighting with the angel. I
Yeah, he was
I
struck.
I was like,
Yeah, he was struck with I think a staff or something by the angel, and he was permanently injured.
yeah,
Yes. Mhm.
yep. I
Wow.
don't, nothing happened to me. Like I didn't
So you're
fall.
still dealing with
Like I
that
said,
now? Like you're still dealing with it now?
oh, yeah, now I will say the first 4 months, when I tell you, I was crying at night. I had to sleep on a heating pad. I had to sleep with a pillow between my legs.
Wow.
I couldn't bend over. Going up steps, I couldn't go up steps. I was constantly limping. I couldn't lift up like a laundry basket without it absolutely destroying me. And so I would say that it's gotten about 85% better now, but like even
Hmm.
still, like I'm constantly having to pop my hip. I'm having to adjust. I still have to sleep with a pillow
Right.
between my leg, and it has been since March.
Wow. Yeah.
So
That's
that felt pretty coincidental, if you want
right.
to say.
Exactly. Yeah. That's just powerful.
Yeah,
It really is.
yeah.
And
And so
so,
it felt, and, and it's one of those things like you say that out loud and people look at you like you're crazy. But I'm like, at this point, all the stuff that's been going on with me, like you're lucky that I'm not crazier than I am now.
right.
So
Well,
so
my
anyways, after
philosophy is you have to lose your mind to find your mind. So,
the only way out is through.
right, exactly. Go ahead. Go
Hmm.
ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So anyways, after this happens, like just know that like the dreams never stop, the downloads never stop, the synchronicities and the weird things happening to me. The owls are just like every time I go outside, they just start like going crazy. They're flying over my head when I'm like laying in the grass just trying to look at the sky. I mean, it was just nuts. So, um, after that, let's just skip to June. And we're outside, and there's this owl that comes and flies. It lands right on top of that same light pole where the orb was flying on the fourth. And
Right.
it just lands right on the tippy top of it, and it's just staring at me. And it's just staring at me, and I'm like, okay, well that's kind of weird. So I film that. It flies away, and my my ex-boyfriend was like, I'm going to go over here and pack up. We're supposed to go on a camping trip the next day. And he's like, he's going to be over there for quite some time. He's like, are you okay with being here by yourself? Because he knows, like, first of all, I just want to say that I was really beating myself up for running
Hmm.
away on the fourth. Like, I was like,
Right.
wow, like, if that was Ezekiel, like, something special or important could have been happening to you, and you're just a scaredy cat and you ran away. And,
Hmm.
I was just really I was in the dark night of my soul during this time because I
Right.
was trying to dismiss what was happening to me. And I understand now, and I want to say this, I didn't say this on Rise podcast, but I understand now that the darkness and the negativity of my experiences had nothing to do with the orbs, and it had nothing to do with what I believe is my angel that is communicating with me. It came from my humanness and my inability to accept
Right.
what was happening to me. And learning about Jacob fighting with the angel felt so personal to me because I feel like that's exactly what was happening to me. Is I couldn't understand this,
Right.
and so I know that now. And so I can look back on it. What I thought was like scary or negative or could have been evil was actually just me and my
Right.
humanness with being able to accept that. So anyways, he was like, are you good to be out here? And I'm like, yeah, because I had been trying to build up courage to, to be able to be outside by myself again and to not be afraid and to face my
Hmm.
fear. So I was like, I'm okay. So he goes to the side of the house. He's going to be gone for quite some time. And so something that has been really special for me is humming. And so I decided to hum, and I am going up the octave, down the octave, and I find this one note in my throat that feels really good. Because, by the way, every single time that I see the orbs, when they come close to me, it affects my throat
Hmm.
every single time. So I find this note in my throat, and I hold it, and it feels very relaxing. I'm feeling very peaceful. I'm feeling like the anxiety kind of melt away from my body. And then I opened my eyes, and when I opened my eyes, directly where the owl had been sitting on top of the light pole, there was an orb, and
Oh, wow.
it started to come down. Yeah, and it started to come down like straight to me. And can you still hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. My headphones made a weird sound. So, but it starts to come down towards me, and I am like, oh no. Like now it's even closer than before. And I start to get up and try to say something, and like I can't. And then all of a sudden, here comes that throat palpitation again. Just da 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 da
Mm,
da. And I got my fingers in my throat, and I hear the telepathic message. It says, understand the aloneness of your experience. And then after that, it said, we will engage with you more when you're alone. And that was really pivotal for
right.
me because it's like the very thing that I'm afraid of. It's like, well, if you do that thing, we'll engage more with you. And so, but that line, that understand the aloneness of your experience, that has probably been the most pivotal line that I've
Mm-hmm.
ever processed in my life. And it has taken on so many different meanings
Mm-hmm.
throughout the past couple of months. And so, I go over and tell, my ex-boyfriend that, and he, at this point in time, he doesn't even, I mean, it's just something every single day at this point. And, so he, what was I saying? Oh, about okay. So then that happens. And so, we leave to go camping, and I was wondering if the orbs were going to follow me camping, and they did. And that was also kind of weird to realize. I'm like, okay. So, come back, and the dreams keep happening. We're about to get to my abduction story. But I wake up from this dream, and I look, and Nathan was looking at me. He literally had like the look of terror on his face. He's like, "What the hell are you dreaming about?" And I think the first thing I said was, that was real and it counted. And he was
Mm-hmm.
like, what was real? And I was like, that was real and it counted. And he's like, what? I was like, I think I was abducted. And so in the back of our house, there is a green ash tree. And this is a very significant tree and very significant part of my story. But um, in my, before I went to sleep, I was out on the steps smoking a cigarette, and I was looking at this tree. And wait, I'm jumping ahead. The night before the dream, I'm outside on the steps looking at this green ash tree, and the clouds are very, it's very cloudy. We didn't really, we had so much rain at this point in time. So I didn't think that it was worth going to the side of the yard to look because I couldn't see the sky.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting out on the steps smoking a cigarette, and then all of a sudden, like one of the most intense downloads that I had had yet came through, and it said, are you ready to remember who you are and why you're here? And it's always really intense when you get
You were
these
called out.
telepathic. I was called out for sure, and I
Yeah.
was like, no, like I'm just a regular old person from the country. I'm just a country girl. I'm not anything special. So I kind of shook it out of my head, and it came back even stronger. And it said, are you ready to remember who you are and why you're here?
Mm-hmm.
And I stood up, and I looked up, and coincidentally, right above that green ash tree, the sky had cleared up just at this one little spot. And I look up, and I said, okay, fine, show me then. And then all of a sudden, orb right above that tree starts to descend down, and it just kind of, it descends down a little bit, then it just goes away. And I'm just like, okay, tears just streaming down my face. And I'm like, okay, well, that's weird. So anyways, the next night after that happened, I'm back out on the steps, I'm smoking a cigarette, and I come and get in bed. Well, in my dream, and I'm going to say I have some really intense dreams, but this didn't feel like a dream at all. You could say it was lost time. I don't really know what you could say.
Right.
But in my dream, I'm right back on the steps. I had never left the steps. But I know, but I did. I put my cigarette out, and I came and got in bed. But in my dream, I'm back on the steps, and I look up at this green ash tree, which, by the way, after being on Rise podcast, we had this really weird thing where I was telling him about the book, and he was trying to find an image of the Manly P. Hall book to show on his podcast. And he's like, is this your book? I said, well, that's not the one I have. It's a different cover. He said, okay, I'm going to use this one because the image on it, I have a personal connection to this. He's like, I've always had a personal connection with the Rainbow Bridge. And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Mhm.
And it's a picture of a tree with a rainbow bridge. It has an eagle on the top of it. I've been having very intense eagle dreams, by the way. Many, many, many. I have very big bird energy. So, anyways,
Wow.
and so this is supposed to be a green ash tree. It's the Yggdrasil. I'm going to say that wrong. It's the tree of life. Okay,
Hmm.
it's the world tree. So that comes into play here in a second. But the so I'm sitting there on the steps in this dream, looking at this tree, and there's a very specific limb to this tree. It's kind of dying, but it's been there for years exactly this way. It's fine. There is an owl that comes and lands on this tree, and it looks at me, and its eyes just keep getting bigger and bigger. And I said out loud, I was like, "You're gonna come and get me, aren't you?" And so immediately, it flies off of this tree, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, "Oh shit!" And it comes and it lands on my shoulder, this shoulder, and I feel it. I feel it grip my shoulder. And the moment that it does, I just take this really big breath like that. And when I open my eyes, I'm in a craft.
Wow.
So, and it was like, I guess you could say it was like I couldn't really see. It was like really foggy or something. It was very dark and it
Hmm.
sounded like very muffled. I could tell it was like some kind of like spherical or round shape. And I don't remember anything else about it. And I think it may be because Nathan had woken me up. And that was when he was like, I mean, he was literally like, what
So
the
you were like
hell is,
freaking out in your dream, and right. And you had
yeah,
I had you had mentioned to me before, or not directly to me, but how it seemed like you were underwater when you were on the
yeah,
craft. It was almost like you were
yes,
underwater, and that intrigues me because I mean, I don't know if the the crafts that are underwater, like there's many sightings of crafts that are coming up out of the water. I can't remember what they're
yeah.
called. They're not, I mean, yeah, I don't know why I
Well,
can't remember
okay,
right now.
this is weird information that I have. So when I was trying to figure
Right,
out what these things were in the beginning, when I thought that they were
right.
plasmoids, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
we were being told on the news that, that nothing. We were being told absolutely nothing. We do not know what these things are, da 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 da,
Mm-hmm.
right? I
Right,
find an article on CIA.gov where not only does the government know, but there was like a 24-page article that I read, and you have to be autistic to read these articles because the way that they
right,
upload them is not like a very convenient way. Like you're having to scroll across and zoom in and like look. But this article was literally said that this company was funded for two
mm-hmm.
years by the US government to
Right.
study the UAPs. Guess where the study took place?
Where? Don't tell me
New
Tennessee.
Jersey.
Oh,
No,
New
New
Jersey.
Jersey.
Okay.
Right,
Right.
right where this whole drone thing started, right?
That
They
happened.
had done
Right,
a
right,
two they had done a 2-year study about these UAPs, and they had like oceanographers and stuff because they were watching and filming and studying these things coming
right,
out of the ocean, and they were studying them in the ocean as well. They lied to all of us. It's on CIA.gov. Like you can literally
right,
go to CIA.gov, put in the
right. Oh
search
no,
bar
I love that site.
UAP.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't read what you're talking about right now, but literally just yesterday, I couldn't even go to sleep last night. I was on
yeah,
the CIA.gov because there was a paper from 1983 that I guess was released probably in the last 10 years to be, for the public to actually see it. And people just
yep.
don't even think about going on there and reading that stuff. But it was all about, in
Because
1983, they were doing studies on people, having them go into out of body states and astro projecting and this, that, and the other for the purpose of, whatever they have going on, or thoughts in their mind, or whatever's going on in the world that has to do with war. They wanted people to be able to target, go on the, astral project or out of body experiences, and they were using all kinds of frequencies and stuff like that to make it happen. And it said that they.
Every single one of those
So
articles,
you must know what I'm
them.
talking about right now from
No,
1983. Like, I was
I
blown
know.
away.
It's the GATE program.
Yeah,
I
the
was in
GATE
the GATE
program.
program
Yes,
at
that's
school.
exactly what it is.
I
Yep.
was, and so I was in the GATE program when I was in elementary school. I literally
Right.
remember going and being like, oh, well, I'm excited because I get to have cookies and juice and be out of class. And like, we were told it was
Right.
smart kids. So what they had me do in the GATE program is this
Right.
interesting. Is I was with this other girl and we had like a trifold cardboard, kind of like what you would put up to make sure you're not cheating on a test, right? They had
Right.
her on one side and she was drawing, and I was on the
Right.
other side. They were having me guess what it was that she was drawing. What color of crayon is she
Wow.
using? Right? And
Wow.
so isn't it really interesting because all of my experiences have been telekinesis. And so they were trying to
Hmm.
test my telekinesis abilities back when I was a child.
Right.
And remote viewing is something that I think that I can tap into. It's something that I was shown a couple of months ago even, and I didn't really talk about it to anybody, because I know it sounds crazy, but I can get into this really weird like meditative state very easy now.
Right.
And when I do and I dissociate just enough, I begin to see what appears to be like a location or something like that.
Hmm.
And like the more I try to like focus on it, the more it goes away. So I feel like if I work harder at it, then I might be
Right.
able to kind of tap into that. But no, what's happening is they're trying to get rid of the neurodivergent people because they know that if they can try to
Right.
use frequency
Exactly.
on us, they can
Hmm.
poison our food, they can do all these
Right.
things. But the neurodivergent people, because now what is RFK Jr. doing right now? He wants a list of everybody that's autistic in the country. I'm not putting my damn name on no list, sir. You're not coming and
Right.
getting me. Absolutely not. Because they're using
Right.
people like us. They're using us for remote
Right.
viewing.
Exactly.
That's how they were trying to find the Ark of the Covenant. They had
Hmm.
somebody remote view the Ark of the Covenant. They're
Right.
having people they are using us, and for the rest of us that are having these same experiences that they know are real, they're telling us
Hmm.
that we're crazy and they're trying to put us on medication.
Right, exactly. Well, that's what they've been doing for years. I mean, just 30 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, if you would have come out with the information that you're talking about right now, or what I'm talking about, or what lots of people are talking
Yep.
about, you would have been medicated so heavily and locked up. Like,
Yep.
that's how they dealt with those problems, and which were problems to them, not problems to us. But yeah, I was blown away with what I read last night because
Yep. Yep.
it just, even going to a psychologist or a therapist right now, if you start talking about experiences like having out of body experiences multiple times and, blah, 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 they immediately will start thinking about how this person needs to be medicated. And I know
Yes.
personally for me, the first thing I say out of my mouth, because I am a chemical-free person, like I don't put any chemicals in my body, like any of those artificial chemicals or anything, nothing chemical in my body. And so I tell them right from the get-go, before any type of a session ever starts with any new therapist or psychologist or whatever, I tell them right away, I'm not going to be medicated. So I just want to start off everything with that. So whatever comes out of my mouth, just know that I'm completely against any type of,
Yep.
drugs. I'm just completely against the drugs.
America is the number one country that we overprescribe so much mental health
Yes, we
medication
are.
and
Yep.
stimulants and all these kind of things. I would like to say that I was on medication for my ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
And when all of this started going on with me, I was like, okay, like I need to make sure that it's not my medicine. Like I need to make sure. And so I came off of
Mm-hmm.
my medicine cold turkey, completely came off of it. And my experiences only got crazier. So it was
Right.
not the medicine at all. So
Right.
you were talking about out of body experiences. So after my abduction dream,
Mm-hmm.
the very next night, um, I would also like to mention that back in 2009, I had a out of body experience with the sleep paralysis thing, and I was like,
Hmm.
I don't ever want this to happen to me again. It was very scary, so I haven't had that
Right.
experience since then. But so the very next night after my abduction dream, I am asleep and I'm on my back, and I wake up to what I don't know. Like whenever you're sleeping and somebody moves you, it like startles you awake. I thought
Right.
that Nathan was moving me in my sleep to like scoop me over, because
Hmm.
I felt like something had grabbed my ankles and was lifting me up. And so when I wake up, I'm not like frozen like with the sleep paralysis before, but I'm
Right.
just really, really, really sleepy. Like I am
Hmm.
in such a sleepy state that it's like I realized that something woke me up because I felt like my legs were being lifted up. And so I'm trying so hard to stay awake because I'm like, what's going on? And then like I'm like, must stay asleep, and I just can't, and I'm like falling asleep. And then I and then I wake up again because now it's like my ankles up to my knees feel like they're being lifted straight up. And I'm like, no,
Right.
don't go to sleep. And I just cannot stay awake. And then I fall back asleep. And then for the last time, the third time, I feel my entire body being lifted up from my ankles. Like someone's got my
Right.
ankles and they're pulling me straight up. So I'm vertical, being lifted up, and I felt like
Right.
my entire astral body had been lifted up by my ankles and
Right.
pulled up. And when I woke up, Nathan was looking at me like very, 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 very concerned. And I looked at him and I said, I need to talk to someone. And I think that he thought that I meant like a therapist, but I just meant because like I told you, I had been very introverted with all this. Like I wasn't getting online, I
Hmm.
wasn't talking to anybody. And I was like, I need to talk to somebody immediately. And so I had reached out to this guy named Mike Cleland. If you are
Right.
interested in owls, abductions with owls, and like them being messengers, he has a book called The Messengers. Mike is incredible. He is a very kind person. His work is great. He's got some really
Hmm.
great um, interviews on different podcasts, so you should check him out. I had reached out to
Hmm.
him like 2 weeks before, and not heard back from him, and honestly kind of forgot about it. But I was like, I
Hmm.
need to talk to someone. An hour later, I checked my Instagram messages, and Mike is like, hey, I just saw your messages. Would you be able to have a phone conversation today? And I was like, yes. So
Right.
he was the first person that I told my story to, and he probably thought I was losing my mind. But so yeah, that happened. And
So now,
well,
when
I'm
you
just trying to
felt
think. So that was.
yourself, when you felt yourself being pulled straight up, like what you said,
Hmm.
you felt like you were having like an out of body experience, like you felt
Oh, because
yourself come out of yourself and go up, right?
hmm I could see my. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
my headphones keep making a strange sound. So I was on my back, and I could see my body. I could see like my legs and stuff in front of me. And so that's what was so startling, is that I could feel lifting, but my legs were still lying down. I'm like, okay, I'm being abducted, or
Right.
this is like an out of body experience. And so that was when it started to get. My angel was like, hey, listen, girl, I've been trying to reach you. I've been I've been sending you symbols. I've been dreams. I gave you the hurt leg. I showed
Right.
you Jacob's ladder in the sky. Like, what's it gonna take? Am I gonna have to literally pull you out of your body?
Right.
And
Exactly.
yeah,
So,
so that
yeah,
happened,
I
and
know that I know the feeling of coming out. I know that pull that you're talking about because I would experience that every
it's
time. It would almost be like,
so weird.
like, yeah.
Hmm.
So I know that feeling oh so well. And so I did want to say that we're going well over an hour. We're hitting about an hour and 15 minutes, and I try to keep them at about 45 minutes to an hour. But I know that there
Okay.
is so much more that you have information, just things, experiences. There's just so much more. So I want to go ahead and let's wrap up this. time frame that
Okay.
we've got to have together, and I
Okay.
most definitely want to bring you back on and
I would love
just
to do part two because, and I'm gonna
yes.
save my July the 6th experience for part
Hmm.
two because that's when everything changed for me. Was July the 6th. Everything
Yes.
changed for me. I've
And
had
I
nothing
already
but
know
crazy experience.
that
You
experience.
do.
Yes.
But
And
before we wrap this up, I just want to say that how I ended up meeting you is because I was being pushed to find master numbers, okay?
yes.
Every life path number is important. I just want to first say that. I'm not trying to say that like master numbers are like more special. I just felt called as a master number 33 to find. It was something that was being pushed on me. So I reach out
Right.
online and I find this guy named Oak. He's a master number 11. I'm like, perfect. This is going incredibly. And then all of
Right.
a sudden, like we connect and we find out that you're a master number 11.
Master number
And it,
11. Yes.
yes. And so it's just been really incredible because I was like being pushed to reach out to people, and that's just not in my character. That's not my
Right.
nature. And so I was like, okay, like how am I supposed to find these very specific people? Like I can't just like walk around and ask everybody what their birthday is. And it just
Right.
everybody has fallen into my lap in such a
They're just
natural
drawn.
way.
Yes.
Yeah. And we all have this connection, and I think that we all know
Mhm.
that we're supposed to be doing something really important together right now.
Yes. And I agree. I
What did
agree
I what did
100%.
I
You're
say what did I say to you when I called you that very first time? What's the first thing I said to you?
soul sister.
Hello, my sister.
That's right.
So
Hello, my
I want to come back.
sister.
I want to come back on for part two because since
Yes.
since then my relationship has ended. I had to move back in with my mom. My
Right.
entire life has changed because I chose to fully step into this role,
Yes.
and crazy stuff has happened
And
since
I know
then.
that
So
feeling because 10 years ago, I decided that I'm leaving everything and I'm fully stepping into what my mission is here. So
yep.
all right. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. I'm going to go ahead and do the closing
Okay.
speech and let's just go from there. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the
You're
end,
welcome.
I would love to hear from you in the comments. Your words of encouragement mean a lot, not just to me, but especially to the guests who come on and share their deeply personal experiences. These are real people and they do read your comments. The best way to support the podcast, like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, stay curious and stay conscious. And then real quick before we actually close out, tell the guest real quick where they can find you. Every platform that you're on right at this point. I know you just kind of joined.
Yeah, I did. I just now started sharing content, very new. I think I'm on TikTok, it's Elusive Moon 33, and then on Instagram,
Mhm.
it's just Elusive Moon. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, perfect. Everybody have a wonderful rest of your night. Bye, Jess. Thank you.